Hello, everybody. My name is Jeff Womack. I'm with EXE Automated Solutions. And today, what I'd like to do is go through a product overview of a commissioning software that we have just released called LittleFoot. So let's get started. What you're looking at right now is the first login screen as you open up LittleFoot so that the users have to log in and what will happen is their names will be produced at the top of the software, and anything they do will be captured. Their name will be captured on that event. So what I'll do is I'll log in. And what happens is this is the very first screen that shows up. So it shows the project name and project end date, and it allows you to browse for and select different icons that you want to show on your reports that you hand over. So to begin, first thing we look at is the devices. And what we're looking at right now is a combination of bringing all the information required for a project into one place. If you look in this area right here, this is all your devices, your tag. That tag can be an actual device, or it can be a tag name that you want to associate with any data type that you want to make. So to begin with, what I have here is a tag name that's made for a device, a, a data type, a subsystem. You can create subsystems in the facility to categorize the tags into different areas of the plant so that you can keep track of completion per area of the plant. What controller that the tag is based on, if it's in a ESD controller or a station controller, or if it's not linked to any controller, you can just put NA. If you notice right here, it's got the asterisks right beside these four inputs. That means that those are required. The ones that aren't are not required. And so right here is a summary of all your checks and the ability to create deficiencies. If you want to create a deficiency towards that check, you can just hit create, and up will come this screen and you can fill out your deficiencies. So I'll go out of there. This area here is any relevant information you want to keep about that tag. If you want to keep, for instance, we want in this area, it's a digital input and we want to see the process range, alarm set points, model numbers, and you can also create a link to drawings. You can make whatever soft tag you want, and you can create it as a hyperlink. And what I'll do is I'll just go to one that's got a hyperlink in it right now. So you notice this one here has got a value of a drawing number, and it's a hyperlink. So if I press open beside it, it'll open the drawing in whatever the default program that drawing is to be opened with from your computer. So if it's such programs like Bluepoint or AutoCAD, it'll open the drawing in that format with that application. The next section of the database of this screen is the ability to log bypasses against that tag. So if you're going along commissioning and you say have to add a software bypass, or you added a hardwire bypass in one of the PLC cabinets, you can log all the relevant information about that bypass in this section. So I'll just do a quick add one. And what it'll do is it links the bypass to that tag, and it shows who created it. And you notice the controller here is NA, and it's linked it to this subsystem. So if I hit save, what it does is it instantly shows that I've got a bypass right here. So when you go back to it, when you go to that screen, if you look there, you'll see that's got a bypass in it, and then you can just say navigate go, and it'll take you right to what the bypass is. And likewise, if you hit go back, it'll take you back to the device screen where the bypass was showed. And also when you go to it, it shows a big B right there indicating that there is a bypass. The next, actually what I'd like to do is go back and just show you guys that how you can create deficiency. So I'll just create a quick deficiency here. I'll just put CSU, trade, electrical, and I'll put test. And I'll leave it as a class B. You can go class A, B, C, or D. And here you can see a description of what the different classes mean. So you can help you select the appropriate class for that deficiency. And then if I hit save, what it does is it shows down in this bottom corner here that I have a category automation, engineering upper range, class B deficiency. And at that point, if I hit go, it'll take me to the screen that shows all the deficiencies for that tag. And likewise, I'll go back and it takes me back to here. So right here is the deficiencies. Now right here, what I did in the database is I incorporated the ability of having the cause and effect matrix for that, or shutdown key, for that project embedded in the database. It can be imported or exported through Excel to show up in the database. So what I'll do is quickly go over to the interlocks, and I'll find these here are all the effects combo blocks, like outputs such as valves, PID controllers, analog outputs, anything that would be defined as an effect in the cause and effect matrix. So what I'll do is I'll select here, I'll go down to something that's got a bunch of causes linked to an effect. And now if I go back to devices, it'll show me on the devices screen that I've come onto this device, and I look here and I see that there's 26 causes linked to that effect. And I've got that device tag, which is this DO data type, established as an effect. So if I click here, what it'll do is it'll take me to the cause and effect matrix. And here's my effect tag with all the causes associated with that tag. So if I were to click on navigate, what it'll do over in this section here, which is all the causes and their associated effects. So what it did is it showed me every effect that that cause is associated with. And I can navigate through here and it'll bring up all the different effects and highlight that cause within that effect. So we went through devices, interlocks, deficiencies, and bypasses. So what I'd like to do is show you an overview of what the statistics portion of the program is. Statistics just gives the user an overview of where he is in the project. So you notice under statistics, I have devices, interlocks, deficiencies, device counts, interlock check counts, IO counts, and resourcing. So the devices percentage just shows you an overview of what percent of total checks you have versus checks complete, and summarizes it in a percent complete form. So you notice I don't have any checks completed right now, so everything is at 0. It shows here that I have 1,877 total checks to complete and 0 are completed. Same as in the interlocks. There's interlock checks. Let me go back and just show you. In the interlocks, if you look here on all the causes, you can see that I have a check beside it. This gives you the ability to check each individual interlock and show who checked it. For instance, I will go here, click, and it shows that I checked it on today, and so on. So if I continue checking them off, I've checked it, and I hit save, what it'll do is it shows me that I am 75% complete on that tag right there. And if I go back to statistics right now on my interlock checks, it shows overall that I am 1.28% complete. I have completed 6 checks, and I have a total of 469 checks to complete for the interlocks. Next one is the deficiency. So it shows me an overview of all the deficiencies created, how many are completed and how many are outstanding, and what trade that they're associated with. So I can filter these deficiencies just like you would in any Excel document, and be able to summarize where the deficiencies are within the project and what percent complete they are for handover. The next statistics is device check counts. Here, I just realized I thought I checked off some devices I hadn't yet. So what I'll do is I'll go back to devices real quick, and I'll check off a few devices. I'll hit save, and then I can go back to device check counts. And what it does, it says, okay, on today I did 5 checks. It shows what the checks are per subsystem, and it'll also break down the checks per subsystem and per description here if you wish. So I can create a date filter, and it'll filter all the checks for that date. Next one is interlock check counts. If you remember previously, I checked off 6 interlocks, and it shows what I did for interlock checks that day as well. And the same thing is filtered. I can filter for a specific day, and it'll show me all the statistical information for that day. This next one, which is I/O counts, is basically just an overview of what I/O you have within the facility. So total I/O that I brought into the project, which includes any I/O which is linked to any data type. So it doesn't have to be a physical I/O device. You can create a tag for peer-to-peer communications and link it to, say, a data type called peer-to-peer comms. Keep in mind that any device tag or tag that you add, not including the checks and soft tags linked to that device, are considered towards the product license. So if you say had a license of 1,000 tags, so far in this project I've used up 377 tags. And now resourcing. I put this section in so that you can calculate how many minutes are required for each check in each data type. And this will give you an indication of how many hours you're expected to use up during the commissioning. Of course, this doesn't consider standby time where you're waiting for the people in the field to get ready for doing the checks with you. But the actual task of performing the check once you're engaged will be calculated against the total amount of minutes you have. And I have it so you put it in minutes, but it calculates everything in hours. So right now it says I've got 5 checks, but I don't have any hours in here right now. I'll just go through some hours, say 10. So what it did right there is it said total hours that I have. There's 1,872 checks left unchecked, 1,877 total. Total hours I have here is 49.83, and if previously I checked the digital input, so it wouldn't show any hours associated with the digital input, but I'll just go here and add some hours for digital input too. Oh, which did I check here? Oh, sorry, I checked the digital output. I'll go back and add hours for that. So right here, you can see that I have 308.83 hours. There's 308 hours left, and it links it to controller, or you can go by data type, controller, ESD, subsystem, category, check description. You can filter any one of these just by selecting filter, and say if I want to filter for that, I can. So next is the reporting section. The reporting section is broke down into kind of three areas. These are all reports here that I can filter for the reports. Say if I want to go to device checks report, and I wanted to, these are all filters that I can filter by subsystem, by type. Let's go to DO where we did some checks, and I'll hit refresh and then preview. And what it does is it shows me a list of all the checks that I've done. And there's 53 pages of checks that I have to complete. And as I'm going, then I can go through and it'll just show me any check that I have done based on. So it puts check by and the date checked beside all the checks. And here it's categorizes it by category. So automation, controls, electrical, and the check associated with this. And this section here summarizes the tag, what type it is, what the description of that tag is, and what controller it's in. Excuse me. This area here I put just as a FYI. So if there's any duplicate I/O registered in there for a controller, it'll show anything you have duplicated in here. And this here is these are statistical checks. I haven't got anything checked, so it won't show any graph. But what it does is it's a KPI that gives you all the information about your project. That I have 1,877 checks, device checks. I have completed 3, so I have 1,874 left. I am 0.16% the checks and 99.84% left. My days elapsed are 0%, and I have 100% of my days left according to the project schedule. These here are statistical checks that you can, or statistical summaries that you can code according to the checks. So this one here is your devices check statistics. So it shows you your controllers, your check category, and the total checks, total checks created and unchecked, and the percent complete of those checks. Same as in statistics interlocks, it shows you the same thing. This one here shows the statistics, a report of all the deficiencies that have been created, how many are completed and how many are outstanding, and gives you a percent complete of your deficiencies. This section here is where the users, and keep in mind that this can be a multi-user environment where multiple people are connected to one database at the same time. So anything anybody does is seen by everybody in real time. This area here is where you can add a daily log for you as a user. So right here it says I am logged in as Jeff Womack. So if I hit add, it'll create a log, and I'll just put log entry and I'll hit save. So what that does is it makes it your log entries viewable by everyone who's logged into the database. However, if you're logged in as Jeff Womack, you can make edits to the log. If you're logged in as someone else, you can view the logs, but you cannot make edits. It's locked down. Only the person whose name in the log is associated with the user can edit their own logs. So for everything you do in the database, it keeps our event log of what actions take place. Like right here, Jeff Womack with this tag, operations category, witnessed all checks, checked true, and it categorizes it as a description device check log. Because you import the drawings, what I did is I made it so that this section views every drawing that you've put in the drawings folder that for the hyperlinks. Although this one here only shows what drawings were installed or linked appropriately just in conjunction with that tag. So of course, it's not going to show every drawing number that you have in your folders. It's only going to have the drawings that are relevant. So that's why I put this all drawings in here. So if you are going through a drawing and it says, please refer to another drawing, I can filter. Oops. I can filter the different drawings here, and I can either open them or I can send them to the printer, in which case I would select depending on the print size I want, but most people like 11 by 17, and then it'll send, and I hit print, it'll send that to the printer, or I can click here and it'll open the drawing in whatever default program that you have for opening that PDF document in this case. This area here is an attachments area. So I can link any attachment to any tag name I want. So that's what this area here is, attachment. So I can take a picture. Once I do take a picture, I can rotate it. I can save it to save the picture. And what I'll do is I'll take the image that I have captured right here, and it'll send it right to here, and it auto name it. This area here is a general area. It shows up the same all the time. So if I have any general documents I want to link to the project, I can put it in this document area. And once I have all the documents and all the drawings in there, this button right here allows me to send all the documents to a folder within where the server backend database is located. So if I click here, of course, it's just sent to everything and made sure that everything is updated on the server. So if at any time I want to have someone else in and I make changes to a document, I can send it up, and the other people, once I'm done sending it, can receive. And what it'll do is it'll update everybody's computer with every change that was made to every document. So you can see that it incorporated a few other documents that I had up on the server that I just brought back down. So overall, that's a basic overview of the project. One other thing I'd like to show you is you can set it up so that you can create a backup folder for your backend database. So in this case, I have it going to server backups, and I want it to back up every 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, it'll just back up my work onto an external hard drive or USB stick or somewhere else on the server that that computer can see. So that concludes my product overview. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this, and I hope that there is benefit to watching this, and I will continue with further videos describing step-by-step details on how to do various things within the database. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.